and now we're here in the gemütliche Ecke, which we say in Germany, the cozy corner, with some very special guests. Before I introduce them, also one more fun fact. Hamburg is considered the smartest city, the smartest IT city here in Germany, and this is, I think, a very important fact. According to the Hamburg Chamber of Commerce, more than 40% of the companies in Hamburg are IT related. So we certainly are very proud of that figure. Yes, and I'd like to introduce now our guests. We had a chance before to meet Oliver. He's with us again, Oliver Süme. He is the chair of the board of ECHO, the Internet Industry Association. Welcome, Oliver. Then we have in the center, Dr. Jörg Schweiger, and he's the CEO of DENIC. Welcome, Jörg. Good to have you here. And then immediately to my right, we have Dirk Krischenowski, and he's the CEO of Hamburg. Welcome, Dirk. It's a great pleasure to have our three distinguished guests with us today. And we've prepared a few questions and also kind of an informal discussion round for this afternoon. I'd like to start with my first question, dealing with Hamburg, and I'll start with Dirk. In the past, people, if they loved their towns, maybe they would have a bumper sticker on the back of the car and say, I love Hamburg, or if in another city, I love San Francisco, maybe I love Chicago. But nowadays, people express their love through a domain name, which is a very interesting trend. So how important are domains for the successful implementation of a smart city, and what further value do they offer a city in general?
Especially in the case of Hamburg, it is important that a city has a communication infrastructure, and that communication infrastructure is solely based on domain names. So imagine there wouldn't be a .com, a .de, or even not a .hamburg. Nothing would work. So that's a basic infrastructure which everybody, I think, takes for granted, but like electricity or water or gas or something like this, but it's so important to have it in a city. Without it doesn't work, and if you have a top-level domain, an own top-level domain of a city, and Hamburg is one of the few cities in the world which has such a top-level domain, that's a great thing and opens a lot of opportunities and chances for the further development of a smart city.
You mentioned that Hamburg is one of the few cities to have that. Why do you think it is so important for Hamburg, and what's maybe the secret a little bit to the success of that?
Yeah, we initially thought that, let's say, short domain names or search engine advantages would be the driver for people to register a .hamburg domain name. But at the end of the day, it was becoming emotional. And we didn't have that on the plan. It's because we asked the people and they said, I'd like to have my business, my family and other things associated with the city of Hamburg, and I want to belong to the city of Hamburg. So a more or less social thing came into the game, and that's very important, and that drives people to register their .hamburg domain name.
Super. It's really a true digital connection, you could say.
Yeah, it is.
Excellent. Thank you. My next question to Jörg. How challenging are large-scale smart city projects for internet organizations? And what requirements for the infrastructure do smart cities generate, in your opinion?
Well, I think smart cities are really driving development further, and they promote digitalization. For example, if you take a look at initiatives that are currently taking place, like digital identities, for example, there you see that we need those identities to really further drive digitalization in this pandemic times, right? And if, for example, you take a look at ID for Me, which is an initiative that DENIC is currently implementing with its partners, then we are providing secure protocols and related tools where applications like smart cities can be easily based on or government-based applications.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. You had mentioned a little bit about the corona pandemic. Maybe I'll switch over to Oliver. That's a good segue. Of course, with corona, everyone's health is the most important issue, but also for business, it has been a very big change. And I would say that many German companies have said that the corona pandemic has pushed them in a fast forward to digitalization. Do you agree with that statement? And maybe you could give us one or two examples what you've noticed.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And we all have seen many examples for that, right? Because if we wouldn't have all these conference systems, video conferencing, and other tools, it would not have been possible to keep the economy running during the lockdown phase that we all experienced. So that really demonstrated also that digital infrastructure is key for an economy, in particular in such difficult times as we have them today. And I really believe that this is boosting further digitization of many companies. They saw it works. It's possible to work from home. It's possible to have conference call instead of traveling. And I think that will really change something and will bring up companies to speed in terms of digitization.
Yeah, thank you. And this is a question for all of you. There are some companies, for example, Twitter even, that has said that after the pandemic is over, that they can conceive having their workers work from home for the rest of their careers, or maybe 3 or 4 days of the week, and just have one kind of a company day in the office. What do you think? Is that something that it's for any three of you? Do you think this is a possibility, something that we could look forward to? Certainly saves on gas and the environment.
So we have our employees being based at home. So we were in a fortunate situation that our employees love to work from home. It's not with all employees. Some feel lonely or get desperate or depressive when sitting alone at home, and you need some technical equipment, a good seating there, not being on the sofa and with your laptop that could cause health problems.
Yep.
But in that case, the company can support their employees to stay at home and stay safe. And if they like it, why not save some office space at the end of the day? And
And I would argue it's probably a pretty new phenomena. If we would have talked 2 or 3 years ago about companies really being excited for their workers to work at home, I think there would have been a different feeling than there is now today.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the pandemic has really changed a lot of things. Good, thank you very much for that. Oliver, a question for you. In your opinion, are there initiatives on a political level that promote the further development of smart applications and related fields?
Well, I think one of the most important conditions for successful smart applications is, again, a digital infrastructure. And in that regard, we currently see the rise of a very prominent and ambitious project that was kicked off by the German government, and that is the Gaia X Initiative.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's an initiative that has the goal to set up a new European-based cloud and data infrastructure. It has originally been a political initiative. It's now more or less handed over to private companies, and currently we saw that 22 companies, 11 from Germany, 11 from France, have founded a legal entity in order to operate this new cloud infrastructure. And we see more than 300 companies and international associations from everywhere that are already supporting this very ambitious project. And that's a very good example for political initiatives, because this is key to successful smart applications in the future.
Super. In the case of Hamburg, I would ask any of the people here, what do you think Hamburg got right as far as putting in that infrastructure? Because it seems that Hamburg is pretty far ahead of many other German cities with that infrastructure for the intranet capabilities. To any of you, I'll open this up.
May I just add to what Oliver said?
Certainly.
And I think it's very important to emphasize that we really do need a clear framework where we can develop solutions. We need a clear setting, directions where we could go so that we can build open standards, that we can build solutions that are global commodity. And we not only need standards and regulations that would cover a federal state, but we would need them on a, European or even on a global level.
Okay. Would you think that the EU could be more active in that, or more of the country of Germany, more of a local level? Where's a good place to start in your opinion? Well,
actually, currently my feeling is that both are really very active right now. And specifically when it comes to data infrastructure, like Oliver mentioned, Gaia X is one example. What I've been talking about, digital identities, there are a lot of influential initiatives currently going on a European level to further promote the development and the framing of such applications. So there's a lot of influential activity going on right now.
Super, thank you. ICANN, I have a question about ICANN for Oliver. You were very passionate about trying to have them come here to our beautiful city of Hamburg. What gave you that idea, and why did you want to have this meeting here in Hamburg?
Well, first of all, the basic idea was to get an ICANN conference back to Germany, because it's 20 years ago that we had an ICANN conference in Germany. The last one was in Berlin, I think more or less exactly 20 years ago from now. And then, because I'm also very much related and one of the co-founders of .Hamburg, and I'm born and raised in Hamburg and living here with my family since ever, I thought it would be a great idea to get the conference to Hamburg. And well, as I already said in the beginning, it was awesome to see that this should have been worked out under normal conditions. And yeah, great that at least we can do it as a virtual format. And it's important to say that it was my idea, but it was of course not my job. There were many, many helping hands, many other helping organizations. And it was so great to see that everyone was working together so closely. We had a very close cooperation with the city of Hamburg. We had a very good cooperation with DENIC. And without all these cooperations and common efforts, it would never have been possible.
Super. I would say, I see we have 1 more minute left. Maybe I'll give you all just a brief chance for a closing statement that you can say to our ICANN members, something maybe that you'd like to say about your company or about Hamburg, about their experience. I'll start with you, Jörg. Just a closing statement.
So yeah, one reason why Hamburg is really ahead in digitalization is that the politicians are working together over the parties, and they are working very professional towards the business area, and that drives things. I have relationship to many cities in Germany, and Hamburg is by far the most professional.
Wow, very good. Bipartisanship, something we all can use more of. Good things. How about you, Jörg?
Well, it's something different, I think. Dear ICANN community, fellows, friends, I would love to see you in person. And I think all of us, we are striving to have an ICANN conference in years to come, in presence, in person in Germany. And I'm really looking forward to see you all back in person. Thank you.
I can second that. And Oliver, maybe you could give a closing statement to our ICANN members.
Yes, of course. Thanks for following us in this very special event here. I think it's very special conditions and circumstances for all of us, and all the more it's important that we see each other at least on this virtual level. And I'm happy as well, as soon as it's possible, to see all of you in person at one of the next real ICANN conferences. Thank you.
Wonderful. Oliver Süme, Dr. Jörg Schweiger, and Dirk Krischenowski, thank you, three gentlemen, for being here today.